A couple of years ago, I received a book as a present to my birthday from Roger. It is an amazing piece of art by Lochner called Planet Okavango. I spent hours browsing the pages, reading the small stories and finding new details in the photos. I couldn't believe the amazing landscapes, the animals and the wonderful colors. This book was the deciding factor that sparked the desire to travel to this beautiful part of the world and take pictures myself and see the pictures come to life. In this part, we'll travel to the amazing Okavango Delta and spend some time at the amazing Maghoto Campsites in the Khwai area. Huge herds of elephants, lots of game and predators combined with an abundance of water, amazing sunsets and the sounds of the Okavango made for an amazing experience. To get from the southern Kalahari to the Okavango Delta, it takes around 13 hours of driving, so we had an overnight stop in Maun, the gateway to the Okavango. After a night at the famous Audi camp, some were fixing on the car and some shopping, we took off north.
Okay, no, the first one I got cleaning.
Soon after we left the city, the tar road turned into a dirt road and then after a while to sand tracks. We were booked for Maghoto Campsites in the Khwai area. To get there, we decided on the route through the Moremi Game Reserve from South Gate all the way to the North Gate and then through the Khwai village. It was exhausting driving but manageable. Right after the North Gate, a bridge waited for us. It is wooden and crosses the Khwai River. It looked funky, but many cars have crossed it before, so I just trusted the process. On the way, I saw my first elephant of the trip and the first elephant in nature in my life. It was absolutely mind-boggling how quiet they are walking. After also seeing a giraffe and zebra, I was a happy camper and absolutely happy with the day. As it was another long driving day, we set up camp, took a very short drive, a couple hundred meters down the river, and then went back, made some nice dinner and went to bed. The next morning we got woken up by the alarm just before sunrise, so we could enjoy a morning drive along the river. The landscape around is a lot different to the southern Kalahari. The river makes for a nice change, and now at the end of the dry season, most animals come to the main river channels as most of the other streams have dried out. We saw dozens of elephants and zebra along the river. What an amazing sight! Observing these giant animals bathing in the river, interacting with each other, then also the countless hippos and birds. There are quite a few water crossings you could be doing here, but we try to avoid them as much as possible. After spending some time with a couple of elephants grazing, we caught a glimpse of a safari car going quite fast and decided to follow it. Soon there were more cars around and we found the cause for the accumulation of safari cars, a leopard. He was walking at quite some pace. I managed to get some great pictures of him when he walked almost straight toward us. It is quite different to have so many cars around. It is still an amazing experience, but just a little crowded. After the leopard decided to hide in a big and dense bush, we marked the location on the map and drove further along the river and through the sandy areas with lots of dead trees. We spotted quite a few birds and other wildlife, but no big predators. Back in the camp we enjoyed a nice breakfast and then decided to move from campsite 1 to campsite number 2. After a nap in the afternoon, we went out for a nice sunset drive. We saw an abundance of elephants, tried to find the leopard from the morning again, but weren't successful. Back in camp, we made a lovely fire and had potatoes and listened to the hippos calling from the river. And some lions roaring in the very distance.
So they are, yeah, they're in the bushes there, unfortunately.
We put up a trail camera at the road near the river to see if anything decides to walk by in the night. After a relaxing night of good sleep, we went on to our morning drive. First again out towards where we found the leopard the day before. We saw the usual elephants, hippos and zebra, but no lion or leopard. After we went all the way to a water crossing we decided not to do, we turned around and drove the other way. Around 10 minutes past our camp, Roger spotted something with his eye. Without hesitation he got us closer and we got to see yet another leopard. I mean, can you get any luckier? The leopard sat on top of a tiny hill behind what looked to be a pond at some point. Of course, there were other safari vehicles around us. I guess it was about 4 other cars. The leopard stayed for a bit in this position before he went into the bush behind him and started to walk towards the river. Because of that, all vehicles took off more or less simultaneously and followed him. The beautiful animal led us down to the river where it decided to settle down for a drink and then a nap. After spending around 20 minutes and giving others enough space to enjoy the sighting, we decided to do a little drive into Chobe National Park. We drove for around an hour past elephants, deer and lots of birds. We also passed skeletons of elephants and the carcass of an elephant that we smelled before we saw it. Sometimes I forgot that having predators around means there's also prey that does get killed, as it is the circle of life. Right before we wanted to turn around, we came across a huge herd of buffalo. If I had to guess, I would say it was around 400 animals. Therefore, we stayed a bit and watched them move slowly but steadily while feeding on the grass of the delta. We were hoping to come across some lions that we heard the night before, but gave up for now and returned back to the camp with a stop at the leopard sighting. Right next to the water, it was still snoozing as we left it to get a nap in. Back in the camp, we chatted with another overlander in the camp behind us and a young Dutch couple one camp over. We invited them for a drink and some snacks in the evening after our sunset drive. Our sunset drive took us down the river one last time. The leopard from the afternoon has left its spot and we did not see any other predators. We found a nice spot and had a lovely sundowner there in form of a gin tonic. While we enjoyed the ice-cold drink, we spotted a kingfisher diving from a tree into the river, hunting for fish. On the way back into camp, we observed the colorful sunset and a supermoon rising. We enjoyed the company around the campfire with some snacks and drinks and went to bed late in the evening. Apparently, we slept so tight that we slept through 2 leopards hunting and fighting basically right in our campsite. Well, I gotta tell you, hot temperatures are exhausting and make for a good night's sleep. In the morning, we packed up the trailer and put it behind the car and took it with us onto our morning drive along the river. I'm sad to leave this amazing piece of earth, but I'm looking forward to the next place we're going to. But on our way there, we will do 2 more stops. One at the north gate of Moremi. There we left the trailer for a couple of hours and took the car to hippo pools. On the drive there we saw many elephants and also spotted a few lions escaping the blazing heat in the shade of a tree. It was an amazing end to this section of the trip. From here, we went back to Maun and spent another night at Audi Camp. Then we noticed something very bad. While refilling the water tank, we saw it leaking at the bottom and saw a crack. We want to go into central Kalahari and need all the water we can carry, including the water tank. So for now it's fixing and planning time. Stick around for the next and last episode of the overlanding trip through Botswana.